Hey guys, I saw The Hobbit over the weekend, so I want to do a review for you. I'll keep it as spoiler-free as possible. No major, massive plot points will be spoiled in this one, hopefully. But I definitely got to make mention of what happens in the film very briefly. But more so, I want to first talk about the experience of seeing The Hobbit, since Peter Jackson has put a lot of effort and hype into the all-new technology that went into this film.
Welcome to the world of 3D.
So, Peter and all of the movie theaters in the world want so desperately for you to buy into all these damn gimmicks and upsells that you can. They promise like this friggin' 3D shit. They promise to blow your socks off and that this is the real way to see the movie. Fucking 3D on a big ass IMAX screen at the new 48 frames per second, which has twice as many frames as traditional films that we've all enjoyed for what, 90 plus years now. So, oh, and that's not even it. When I got to the theater, I noticed I'll even get to see it in the new D-Box experience. I filmed it for you. Let me show you what the D-Box is. This is the new D-Box experience, realistic motion effects. So you're gonna see these chairs move in a second. Hopefully they will move sometime. Oh, there it goes, a little bit of movement. Devin, can you exaggerate the movement a bit so that we know you're moving when it moves? It moves so freaking ever slightly that you barely notice it. Oh my gosh, you're going on this sled for half a second. Okay, so this is what everybody has to look forward to in the future. Realistic motion effects. So I've got these 3D glasses going on. Thankfully, they were individually packaged, so no Jabba the Hutt mucus on it from previous wears. Then I got the 48 frames per second, which puts me inside the screen like I'm looking in the window, watching the movie. And now my fucking chair is rocking me around like I'm a damn child, okay? It's a surprise to me, then, that they don't put a toilet in the damn seat, too. That way I can just take a shit while I watch the movie uninterrupted, okay? And have the machine automatically wipe my ass for me without any bathroom breaks. It's fucking genius! Copyright AJ 2012. But seriously, this shit is getting way out of hand now, okay? It's crazy. We've got 7 different ways to watch movies now. I mean, 2D, 24 frames per second, 3D, 24 frames per second, 2D, 48 frames, 3D, 48 frames, IMAX, 24 frames, IMAX, 48 frames, and now fucking motion seats like I'm at a frickin' theme park. So quickly, let me just review these gimmicks and then I'll get to the movie, okay? So, the D-Box seats. First, there's hardly any movement most of the time, okay? It's just a low rumble. Probably just because our squishy American asses can't take it for 2.5 hours. So they'll jolt you around for a few seconds during fight scenes and big bass moments and sweeping camera movements like when the brown wizard shows up in his kick-ass bunny-driven sled. During these bits, you feel like you're at like a theme park ride, okay? Especially watching it in 48 frames per second. That same motion feels like a theme park ride. But to be honest, it's more fucking annoying than anything else. I mean, did it add to the movie? No. Is it worth paying extra for? Hell no, okay? Next, the 3D. You guys know my stance on 3D here, okay? And it's no different here. Look, I even fucking just broke the glasses, okay? It's even, the screen is darker than normal, okay? I didn't see it in the 4X theater that brightens their screens. So the biggest problem was clarity and brightness. So those get compromised for what? So I can see little embers in the smokestack coming up from Bilbo's house for 7 seconds better? No, screw that. You know, I had to take my glasses off for maybe a third of the movie to rest my eyes. Just had it sit up on top of my head. You know, I actually preferred to see the movie with this double vision shit in some spots. And also, doesn't anyone think of all these plastic that we fucking waste? These plastic glasses did fall apart in 3 seconds, okay? You know, and people just go into the movies once, and then they take these glasses and they throw it the fuck away. It's incredibly fucking wasteful. I'm sure there's landfills filled with these pieces of shit. I'm so sick of this 3D crap, okay?
Welcome to the world of 3D.
Die already! Die a horrible, horrible death!
Shooting The Hobbit in 3D is a dream come true. I mean, if I had the ability to shoot Lord of the Rings in 3D, I certainly would have done it.
I'm getting sick and tired of all these fucking gimmicks, guys. Is it too much to ask to just sit down calm and quietly and watch and enjoy the fucking experience without having 1,000 damn things massaging my ass cheeks and spraying water in my face when shit happens on the screen? The only thing that's worth it in as far as these movie-going gimmicks is a big-ass screen. So IMAX and big-ass screens, hell yes, okay? The other is nice, comfy chairs. More upscale theaters are doing this now. We have a few in Austin that do them. You can recline them, you can put your feet up. In some places, they even serve you food and alcohol. So big-ass comfy chairs, beer, and food, fuck yes. 3D and fucking D-motion seats, fuck no. What about the 48 frames per second? Well, I don't fucking hate it. I mean, like some other people do, but I do place exceptions on it. I think it only works in big-ass budget films. Nothing else. It's gonna look like shit in anything else. The new speed takes some adjusting to at first. During the flashback scenes in The Hobbit, when there's tons of panning and circling and swaying shots, I was getting a bit queasy, which is never good, and I was getting a little worried, but over time the stiller shots balanced it out, my eyes adjusted, and I got used to it. Though it does look more like it's filmed for TV. I mean, my friend said it looks like I'm watching a soap opera, and that is totally true. What it looks like is a very, very high budget soap opera show. So, you've got to ask yourself whether you want a bit smoother action in the fight scenes with the 48 frames per second and sweeping landscape shots at the cost of a little bit of movie magic, okay? Costumes are gonna look like costumes. Makeup will look like makeup if it's not all done with the utmost attention and care and an extremely high budget as they had here in The Hobbit. Okay, so my rating on 48 frames per second, inconclusive. I need to see it again at 24 frames, and I need to see this used in a medium or low budget film. I'm thinking it's not gonna hold up as well in those cases. So, yeah. Whoo! Got all the fucking gimmick crap out of the way, so how is the actual damn film? Let's talk about The Hobbit now, Joe, why don't we?
Cannot guarantee the Hobbit's safety, nor will I be responsible for his fate.
Something moves in the shadows.
My name is Bilbo Baggins.
The Hobbit, an unexpected journey.
Okay, it should be said that I fucking love the world of Middle-earth, so finally getting a chance to revisit it was awesome for me, okay? We have a bunch of returning characters for cameos. Saruman, Agent Smith, okay, that's his only name, by the way. Even Frodo for half a second. The lovable kick-ass Gandalf returns, as sharp as ever, who kicks ass with a sword, by the way. He's like a close combat mage. And then we have Bilbo, who's played by Martin Freeman, and I will say it now, I like Bilbo far more than Frodo so far. He's funny, he's polite to a fault, but at the same time, he's courageous, he's brave, and over the course of the film, he grows as a character.
No, there's nobody home! Go away and bother somebody else! There's far too many dwarves in my dining room as it is. If this is some Lothead's idea of a joke, I can only say it is in very poor taste.
Gandalf.
However, the rest of the group, not so much, okay? Outside of the returning characters and Bilbo, the new characters are less interesting than they were on Lord of the Rings, both the heroes and the villains. We've got a generic albino orc called Azog. He wasn't in the Hobbit book. He was believed to be dead, but here he serves as the more traditional main antagonist for our band of merry singing dwarves. Now, these dwarves are led by their king Thorin, and Thorin is just this grumpy guy. He's supposed to be charismatic on the screen quite clearly, but that sort of gets lost in the film. He certainly doesn't compare to the old heroes. There's not a whole lot of character development here for him, so it's kind of hard to relate to. His companions, they'll get it even worse. The other dwarves, they're just relegated to comic relief like the 7 dwarves in Snow White. They never really get any standout moments of their own, so they're hard to like. You know, I can't even remember a single one of their names. So there's also the appearance of the 3rd wizard in the franchise. I believe his name is Radagast the Brown. Also expanded material here, as he wasn't actually an active part of the book. In the film, though, it switches to his perspective about halfway in, as he discovers the ring wraiths have risen again and that the forest is starting to become corrupted in this scene. He's trying to save the lives of Porcupine, and the girls will like that scene. But he's just not a particularly strong character and doesn't say much at all. But his kick-ass bunny-driven sled is a must-see. Now, ultimately, this group, these guys aim to travel to the Lonely Mountain to reclaim their home that was taken by an evil, massive dragon. They were driven out. Now, in the books, it was more about getting back their gold, okay? And that's why they needed Bilbo, because he was sort of their thief to take back the jewel that the dragon had and some of this gold. But now they made it to where it's more honorable, and you know, they just need a place to call their own and to live in. And so that was a cool change. But now, why they particularly need Bilbo, I guess it has something to do with him getting past the dragon or distracting the dragon. I don't know. It's probably something that we're going to surely see in the future films. And that's basically the film's main problem. On its own, if you assume that there would never be any others, it kind of falls a bit flat. Forget about the other films, just this one, okay? There's no real main climax in the film. It's a series of fight and flights over and over again, okay? Between 3 main ones, you got your orcs, you got these trolls, which is another funny scene, and Goblin King, which I really like. That's actually another good character. And that plays into what I'm saying, that it has more humor in this particular one, which I enjoyed. It's a good counterweight to the Lord of the Rings franchise in that sense. I found myself laughing a lot, which is good. But really, the best part of this film, and why you should see it, is the return of Gollum. Okay, this whole sequence is worth the price of admission alone.
Was lost? Yes, and I want to get unlost as soon as possible.
Now keep your I'll use this if I have to.
Gollum looks better than ever, okay? I freaking love this character. He's just so twisted and demented, dangerous, but yet innocent and endearing, okay? So well done. His CGI is actually well done. The other CGI looks a little weird in the 48 frames per second, but Gollum looks good. And the whole scene where Bilbo and Gollum match wits in a game of riddles cannot be missed. So definitely see it for that.
Why don't we have a game of riddles?
And if it loses, what then? Well, if it loses precious, then we eat it. If Baggins loses, we eat it whole.
Fair enough.
I don't buy that argument that the film is too slow in the beginning. I think people need to shut the hell up about that. And just people have no more patience for setting up characters and shit like that, immersing themselves in the world. And you know, and even though it was a long film, that was another complaint of people. It holds your interest the whole way through, okay? And it delivers on its promise of an unexpected journey for Bilbo. Okay, there's plenty of sword fights, there's action, not as much clearly as in, you know, Return of the King and all these other, you know, Lord of the Rings films, but there's action. We see more of the Middle-earth creatures, like the wargs, the large, intelligent eagles, which were my favorite from the previous films, and even rock giants fighting each other as the group holds on to their legs for dear lives. That's one that needs to be seen in IMAX. But at the end of the film, by the end, they're still a long way from the mountain, as you can clearly tell, because they broke this film up into 3 films. You know, they still have their goal right in front of them, but they feel more like a solid group, which they're going to need to be as these dark, unseen forces are gathering the necromancer and plotting. But that reminds me is, if there are those eagles in this world, why couldn't they just have flown them in the group all the way straight to the mountain? I guess there'd be no movie then in that case. So, stupid question. We wouldn't have this badass, unexpected adventure and journey and running and fighting and fleeing and shit. So, it's cool. I mean, it was an entertaining film. It overcomes most of its faults. It's a joy to travel back to Middle-earth, and I'm glad it was made. The final verdict for the film comes in at an 8 out of 10. It's awesome. But if you see it in 3D with all these other fucking gimmicks and shit, it's gonna ruin it for you. It's gonna bring it down to like a 7 out of 10, okay? I enjoyed it, but I felt that, you know, as a single film, apart from the others, let's just think there's no other films, just this one, it sort of suffers for having been, you know, squeezed out into there. I mean, there's a lot left out for the other films because they could have made it one, but there's a good amount left in to make it worth seeing, at least once. It does a great job, though, of setting up those next 2 films. So the real payoff remains to be seen on how they're gonna, you know, handle the dragon and all that other stuff. So, you know, as far as the whole meta discussion about him, about money and splitting this thing up, the logical side in me says that it's lame to break up this 320-page book, The Hobbit, the shortest of all the books, into 3 movies. But the fan in me just says that I'm almost glad that they did that so that I can spend more time in the world and just hope for some really awesome on-screen moments, which so far it's delivering. So as long as it keeps it at this level and goes up from here, we'll be all right. If not, I can see the complaints starting to come back. So, what do you guys think? Do you like the 48 frames per second? Do you still think that 3D is bullshit and you better say so, okay? What do you think of the film being split into 3? Do you think it improves it? Are you thankful or are you resentful of it? So, leave it in the comments and I'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show movie review.
What's the verdict from you guys, Berto?
It was quite nice, you know. I very appreciate this. I feel like I'm getting a little bang for my butt.
Okay.
If I had taken LSD, I would feel everything.
All right. What do you think?
It looks very unexciting.
Unexciting? I don't know. What?
It keeps you awake.
Yeah, it keeps my grandpa and grandma awake when they watch movies with me.